somewhere far away in space and time. Staring upward at the gleaming stars in the obsidian sky. I'm marooned on a small island in an endless sea, confined to a tiny spit of sand, unable to escape. But tonight, on this small planet, on Earth, we're gonna rock civilization.
Okay, so this was two experiences I had back to Overland Park. They've taken me there many times. And that last time was, what, about a couple months ago, when it had like a circus theme. And I just kept walking around all the freaking freeways, but there was really no cars, driving on the freeways. That was a few months ago, and now the flat face beings that like to give me these kind of lucid dreams. The flat face reptilian beings. And so they took me, I don't know why, I don't think I was thinking about Overland Park or whatever. Well, you know what, maybe I was. Well, anyway, yeah, so they gave me, or he did, or whatever, gave me two back-to-back lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, to Overland Park again. And so this is how the first experience went down. Well, I know I was thinking about that serial killer that, got caught in Overland Park, a serial killer, so maybe they went off that. Because I was kind of thinking about Overland Park because that's where that serial killer got caught back in 2004. Okay, so maybe that's why they gave me the experiences. Okay, so the first experience was about a week ago. And, trying to get this in the picture. Yeah, it was about a week ago, and it starts out like this. Okay, so I'm driving. Okay, so the first out-of-body experience, lucid dream abduction, starts out like this. And there's a lot of similarities between this one and that second one I had a couple days ago. Okay, so the first experience started out, it's like, and I didn't even really know I was being abducted either. I was kind of dumb in this experience. So it starts out like this. So, okay, it's kind of like I'm in a car, but I'm not driving. Something else is controlling the car. And I kind of like knew that because I felt like I was not controlling the vehicle. But I was like in my vehicle, going west like I always did back when I lived in Overland Park, going down the freeway, 60, 70 miles an hour. This is how it started. I was just going super insanely fast down the freeway, and I kept thinking in my mind, like, man, I could just barely turn my wheel and I'm going to crash. Because I felt like I was totally out of control and that I wasn't really driving. Well, I wasn't really driving. The Reptilian was, creating all this for me. And, created that for me. Driving down the road really fast. And I almost actually felt like I was on the the passenger side driving or whatever, so to speak. But anyway, yeah, so it starts out like that. I was just driving really fast, except I wasn't really driving. It's like I knew something else was controlling me. And I was going really fast, and I just remember thinking in my head while I was going really fast down the freeway in a vehicle, in my car, and I was just like, wow, if I just like barely move the steering wheel this way or that way, I'm going to just bam, crash, because I was going so fast and driving so erratically, except, I wasn't driving. And I knew it's like something else was controlling me. Okay, so that's how it starts. And like I say, these beings, they totally duplicate your exact reality in these experiences. It's amazing what they can do. And, okay, so then basically I take a right turn on Roe Avenue. And I used to, live off of Roe Avenue. So in real life, for 6.5 years, I lived all in this area. And okay, so after the experience started out like that, I ended up taking a right, and then bam, I was just sitting there in my car, so to speak, in the middle of the road on Roe Avenue. And I was looking around. Okay, this is the cool part. I was looking around and looking around and looking around, and I was just like, wow. Okay, it was kind of like, I'm going to see if I can explain it right. It was kind of like, there was, the haves and the have-nots. And, it was kind of like we were in, not end times, just where there was just nothing but, rich people and just poor people, the haves and the have-nots or whatever. Yeah, I didn't necessarily feel like it was doomsday or anything, but it was like the poor people really got poor, and then just, the middle class people just stayed the same or whatever. And in real life, in real life, the part of town I lived in was kind of more ritzier, and then the Missouri side was just kind of more dirtier in that area. And there's a lot of rich people that lived in that county, on the Kansas side, off Roe Avenue or whatever. And then the poor people lived off, the other side of State Line Road, which was Missouri. And, so anyway, it's kind of, okay, see, the aliens, they totally go off any kind of thought or what your perceptions are, just anything like that. It's game to be thrown in your lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences, whatever. This was pretty much all lucid dreamy, out-of-body experience. Except it was part of virtual reality, just slightly virtual reality, because when we were sitting there at Country Kitchen, I could taste the pancakes and shit. Okay, so anyway, so it was kind of like I say, not necessarily doomsday, but it was like, the poor people got really, really poor. And like I say, in real life, back in, when my aunt died in 2012, when I went back to, I didn't go down Roe Avenue, but we went down, what's that one street called? 112th Street or whatever. That's where my aunt, lived, the little place she lived, because it was, assisted living or whatever, but we went there in 2012 to celebrate her. It was a celebration of her life or whatever, but she had already died. And, but anyway, okay, see, in 2012, okay, so, we went to, in real life, we went to, not Central Market, what the fuck is it called? Whole Foods. And, okay, see, the Reptilian went off my thoughts, because we went to Whole Foods, and it just seemed, I don't know, Kansas City just seemed really different all the last times I've been there. I only lived there from 2000 to 2006. But I don't know, it just seemed dead all the other times I've been there. Just, I don't know, it seemed like a ghost town to me. But in 2012, I guess there's, I don't know, it was a Sunday, so there was you know, a lot of cars on the road or whatever. And then we went to Whole Foods. After we had the little death celebration, we went to Whole Foods. And I noticed all these, like, people roaming around the parking lot begging for money from these old people. Because, you know, there's a lot of old people that live in that county. And they have more money, you know, and people on the Missouri side know that, so they come over to the Kansas side and try to rip off old people. And this woman, this black woman, she was kind of moseying, kind of real aggressively all around the parking lot, trying to like harass these old white men, trying to get money from them. And I was with my sister, and the boyfriend's like 8 foot tall and really big, so she kind of looked at us and just walked on. She wasn't about to harass us for money. Okay, but not only that, I also saw some Mexicans in the the entry to the parking lot. I saw some Mexicans, like a man and a woman and a little baby, and then a slightly older kid, like begging for money right there, okay? So the alien went off my thoughts, you know, from back in 2012. Because when I lived there, I never did see that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I say, in real life, like I say, I don't know if I'd ever go back and live there ever again, you know, but yeah, so I know the alien kind of went off my thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so when I was sitting there in my car, so to speak, I was looking around, and all the have-nots came over to the Kansas side, the rich side, and what they did was it's like, okay, now, there is, like a park over to the left, and, so, you know, some woods. And so what the have-nots did, the woods, they, like, literally just, like, okay, this is what they did because they were poor and they needed food. They literally, like, raided the woods, where there literally was, like, only 20% of the woods left. I mean, they raided all the woods. They tore down all the woods, the woodsy areas and the woods, because they were looking for all the animals, all of the wild animals to hunt and eat. And one of the reasons why the Reptilian put this in my experience was because when a few days previous to this experience, I was watching that one movie, and it kind of had a theme of burying, you know, these people that they killed in the ground, you know? So it's kind of like burying bones, so to speak. So the aliens put that in the scenario. Okay, so anyway, but basically that's what the deal was. The have-nots, I mean, they didn't, you know, harass any people or anything like that in this experience. What they did was, they were so poor, they had to basically just raid the woods, like cut down all the woods and the trees and everything and the shrubs or whatever to literally find all the wild animals so they could, you know, eat them for food because they were so poor. Okay, and so as I sat there in my car and looked around, I saw at least at least 9, 10 big, huge piles of bones. It was like bones, like 50% bones and 50%, twigs and sticks and brush. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, as I looked around, it was just like, wow. And it's like I knew all that. I knew that's what happened. I knew that the have-nots had to go raid the woods to find, you know, wild game to eat. And I remember thinking, while I was sitting there, this is all into the experience. Well, I remember thinking, while I was sitting there looking around and everything, at the big, huge piles of bones and sticks, I remember thinking, and I knew it wasn't, you know, the residents of that county. I knew it wasn't them that did it. I knew it was all those other people coming from the Missouri side over to the Kansas side to that did that. I knew that. And I remember thinking, oh wow, I wonder if these residents that actually live here, are they, I wonder how they like it, like going down the road and all the woods have been destroyed. All the woods was like destroyed and taken down, and, put into piles and crap because, like I say, they had to catch all the wild animals to eat. Okay, so that was the, okay, so that was the second part of the experience after looking at the bones and stuff. And that was probably the, craziest part of the experience. Okay, so then the next thing I know, me and my mom and my sister, and there was like 4 or 5 other people that was familiar to me, well known to me, were sitting there at what seems like a country kitchen. It was either a Denny's or a country kitchen, but it seemed like more of a country kitchen. And several times I did go to a Denny's, not a country kitchen, but Denny's many times when I lived in Overland Park, late at night, like at midnight or whatever. And so the alien went off of that. So we were sitting there, and I was eating like pancakes, and there was some other stuff on the plate. I think it was eggs, and I could even remember tasting the pancakes. And then I looked back, I cocked my head to the left, and then up on the ceiling, I noticed it was dripping, and I remember thinking, ew, this is probably like an old, restaurant, which it was, that needed to be renovated. And I just kept looking at it and looking at it and looking at the water leaking from the ceiling, and I was like telling my mom, I was like, look. And she's like, oh, well, she's like, don't look at it. She thought that was rude or whatever to point it out. That, and the alien went off that. The alien went off my thoughts or whatever, in reality, because, several times I've been into old restaurants or even, Barnes and Nobles, and you look up at the ceiling and it just looks real nasty, and you could see all of the stains from the water that had leaked. So the alien knows I'm OCD, so they throw shit like that in my scenarios because they know it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so well, like I say, this experience wasn't, much or anything, but the coolest part, like I said, was all of those piles of bones and stuff. That was all like, so it was like virtual reality. It was so, like real looking. I was still, in a slightly like lucid dream state though. But, I have a video about all the differences between lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, and all that, but some of the experiences are like combination of, all of the above. Okay, so, anyway, so, okay, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, so basically, after I pointed out, that the ceiling was leaking, and, oh man, it seemed like, and I know I'm forgetting some things, it seemed like, I'm trying to remember, because it seemed like the reason why, my family went to the restaurant, it was like we were, I can't remember if like they were like visiting me or if it was like after like, I don't know, it seemed like it was after like we went to like a baseball game or something. I don't know, it was weird. But I'm forgetting some parts. But anyway, the cool part was the big piles of bones. Okay, and then there was one other part where it's like I said, both of these lucid dreams are kind of like C+. They're not A+ experiences. That's why I already forgot some parts of the experience. But okay, so after I pointed out to my mom and I actually saw the water coming down from the ceiling in slight drips, it's like I went off into a hallway of a motel, and I was walking down the hallway, and I had in my left hand, a small snapping turtle, about 5 or 6 inches long. And in real life, the guard gave me a turtle like several years, or a couple years before I even had turtles, gave me like a snapping turtle. And I didn't even know what it was at the time, to tell you the truth. I I can't even remember if it was a snapping turtle, but he said that it was. And like I say, I wasn't into turtles then. It was like 2 years later I got into turtles. And so I let the little feller go, you know, in the pond down the street. You know, that was real life and everything. And so the alien, for some reason, duplicated that and put that in my experience. So it's like, okay, so after we were in the country kitchen, after we ate, it's like the scene goes off into the hallway. And I was walking down the hallway, and it was like the manager of the country kitchen was walking down the hallway. He had brown hair. He was walking down the hallway. And I think I had some interaction with him, but I can't remember. And I was holding, maybe he was trying to ask me, are you going to keep the snapping turtle or not? But anyway, so I had the snapping turtle in my left hand, and I was just debating whether or not I was going to keep it or not. And like I say, this lucid dream, you know, is kind of haphazard. And I know I'm forgetting the part where at one time I knew why we were in the country kitchen. And like, it was like, I don't know. It seemed like my sister and my mom were either visiting me and maybe I still lived there. I don't know. I can't remember, but I know I did remember once upon a time, but I'm forgetting that part, why my sister and me and my mom and a few other people, you know, were eating at country kitchen. I did know the reason, but I forgot. But I totally remember all the other part, and it started off, you know, where I was driving down Rowe Avenue, but basically I knew that something else was controlling me. But I didn't know it was the alien. Like, sometimes I'm very conscious that the alien is giving me the experience while under the experience, and sometimes, you know, you're not. I'm not. Okay, so the second experience, and of course, there again, they they stick me in this, you know, another nasty bathroom. They're always sticking me in nasty bathrooms because they know that it bugs me and that I'm OCD. And you know, in real life, you know, you've been in like nasty bathrooms before when you go into a gas station or, you know, grocery store or whatever. Sometimes the bathrooms are really nasty. Okay, now shit, I gotta remember this experience. Okay, so the second experience, it starts off like this again. Okay, it starts off where this ex-female I used to know named Candy, and I knew her back like in 2012 for about, I don't know, maybe about, I don't know, a few months or whatever. Okay, well, hold on, I gotta remember this experience because, okay. I remember. Okay, like I say, both of these experiences were like C experiences. C plus, C minus. They weren't A or A plus. Okay, so it starts off like this again. Now, it starts off with me and Candy, her name's Candy, being in a vehicle, and we are going down, we're heading, like the first experience we were heading west. In this experience, we were heading north in the direction of Rowe Avenue. And actually, I think I said that wrong. That first experience, I was going down the freeway, the 435 freeway to get to Rowe Avenue. The second experience, we were going down the same freeway in the other direction, heading towards. See, that's not Rowe Avenue. Shit, that's 119th Street. Crap, man, I haven't lived there in so long. Well, anyway, you get my drift. Okay, so the second experience, it's like we're going down 119th Street, heading towards Rowe Avenue, but this time, it's we're heading east, and me and Candy is in the car, and I was already having these thoughts. I mean, I had already ate Andy's frozen custard, and previous to this experience, that was on the brain. Andy's frozen custard. I told my mom in real life that we need to go eat, Andy's frozen custard. And so in this experience, the experience started like that. Me and Candy were actually, This time it seemed like we were in her vehicle. And so we were eating, I mean, I had these thoughts of, okay, I already ate my Andy's frozen custard. And so I asked Candy, I was like, Candy, since you didn't get any, Andy's frozen custard, do you want to go to Wendy's and get a Frosty? And Wendy's was, in real life, Wendy's is just up on that exact street, Roe Avenue or 119th Street, whatever it is. There is a Wendy's right there. And at the end of the experience, I'll tell you that I was kind of like shocked that the alien knew exactly where that Wendy's was. That kind of shocked me. It was kind of weird. Okay, so anyway, so I had already had the thoughts, and I had already, eaten Andy's frozen custard before I met up with Candy, apparently. And me and Candy were in the car, and I was like, Candy, I already ate an Andy's frozen custard. Do you want to go get, a Wendy's Frosty? And it was to our right, up the street a little bit. A Wendy's was. And she was like, no, that's okay. And so then it's like she proceeded to start driving, and I was in the back seat, and then all of a sudden I looked over to my right, and I looked down, and she was in the back seat. This was the funniest ass part. She was driving with her feet, and she was driving with the stick shift. She had her feet like this, controlling the stick shift and driving with the stick shift. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I thought you were just driving normally with the normal little, for some reason I thought the steering wheel was just, really small. I told her I thought you were driving just normally with that normal little steering wheel. And I don't know why I would think a steering wheel would be that little, like as big as round as a cantaloupe, when steering wheels are much bigger than that. But in this experience, that's what I thought. And so it kind of freaked me out that she was driving like that. And her, and actually in real life, she did kind of like to walk around barefoot a lot. And in this experience, she had very, very small feet. Her feet were probably as big as a 7 or 8 year old. So that was kind of funny that the aliens are freaking hilarious. The funny things they do. Okay, so that kind of freaked me out, that she was driving with her feet, and it was right in the back seat. That's when I looked down. I was sitting in the back seat to the left, and I looked down, and she was in the middle. And the stick shift, like I say, was kind of stupid because the stick shift wouldn't really be in the back seat, but it was in this experience. And she was literally driving with her feet on the stick shift. And so that part was hilarious. Okay, so then after that part of the scenario, we end up walking around a college campus. Okay, the aliens have put me in schools and college campuses many, many, many times. So they put me in a college on the college campus, and me and Candy were walking around, and we were just totally, having good conversation, walking around, and then all of a sudden she just freaking disappears and leaves me abandoned. Okay, there's this one being, this one flat, which I know he has a flat face. I just know that. There's this one flat face being that always gives me these kind of lucid dreams. And he has left me abandoned many, many, many times. Like this same being, more than likely he gave me this experience. He gave me that experience to England. I never talked about that one because I didn't document that one, but I remember lots of parts of it. But he took me to England again. I've been there many times under lucid dreams and stuff. He had taken me to England and abandoned me again. The whole tour, group abandoned me. And many, many other experiences, he leaves me abandoned. It's like they're kind of funny like that. They know what bothers you, they know how to resonate with you, and they throw all that crap in your experiences because they know it bothers you. Okay, so then I started walking around, and I was just kind of like beside myself because, I didn't feel comfortable, you know what I mean? Being, abandoned like that. So then there was this woman walking around, and she looked, it's like she worked for the school. I don't know what job she had, but she worked for the school system, the college. She was like, I don't know, secretary or something like that. And we were outdoors, and she was walking around, and I went up to her, and I was like, can you page my friend? And she's like, well, no, because, you're on a college campus, and there's many, 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 many buildings here, so I can't just, if, she was acting like, if you paged one building, that wouldn't make sense, because she could be in any number of separate buildings, because college campuses have several separate buildings, on the campus. So I asked her to page her, but she said that she couldn't do it. Okay, so then, I can't remember if it was after that or before that, but after that or before that, I went into the bathroom of the college campus, off to the, somewhere outdoors, I went into the building and went to a bathroom. And it was like all nasty, and I could, I could smell the nastiness. Like, you could go into some bathrooms and kind of smell a slight stench of urine, I could smell it. Like I say, this being does the same thing over and over and over again. The same themes over and over again. And like I say, there was a lot of similarities, so I know it was the same being that gave me these two experiences, because there was a lot of similarities. We started off in a vehicle, and, there's just a lot of similarities. And what else? Well, anyway, there's more than that, but, yeah, and, he always leaves me abandoned. He sticks me in nasty bathrooms, and he makes me smell the urine smell or whatever. Okay, so then, what I was going to say was, so after I woke up, I was just shocked that, okay, because I haven't been in that exact area of Rowe Avenue and where Wendy's is at. I haven't been in that exact area since, yes, I went downtown Kansas City a few times a few years ago. And like I said, I went down that 119th Street in that one area for, my aunt, Susan, that area. But what I'm saying is, I haven't been in that exact area of that Rose Street right there where the Wendy's is up the street. And then there's some government buildings on up the street. But that Wendy's, I hadn't been to that, in that specific area since 2006. Because that's when I moved to Austin, Texas. So that was 12 years ago. And so that's why after I woke up, I was just like, I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, because I didn't have Wendy's on the brain or anything like that. I did not have, Wendy's on the brain. But yes, I haven't had, I hadn't been in that area in 12 years. So after I woke up, I was shocked that the being went back, 12 years previous and put that exact, Wendy's in my experience, under my lucid dream, that exact Wendy's in the exact location where it really is in real life. And too, the funny thing is, with the Wendy's, because, and I'm not implying that, I don't think, Anthony the alien gave me this experience. It's a different being that gave me this experience. But Anthony the alien, when he came in physical form 4 times at the bookstore, he gave me some Wendy's coupons and McDonald's coupons. And then it was like a month after that, he did give me an out-of-body experience and virtual reality experience. And it was like couple months after he came in physical form. I want to say it was like early June. I had this other experience at the grocery store, and I think it could have been him again in a really different physical human form. I would not be surprised. if they could come as one thing, I mean, they could come as anything they want to. They don't, like, they're amazing. But, of course, he was a totally different person and all that. But, I mean, I'm thinking it really could have been Anthony, except in a totally different form. And I haven't talked about that experience yet. But that was like a couple months after March. It was like the beginning of June. Last June. So anyway, that was just like shocking because he brought something, out in the front when I hadn't even been in that area in 12 years. 12 years. But like I say, they can go back, to age 1, age 2, age 3, age 15, whatever. But I just was kind of shocked because, like I say, I didn't have that exact little area of Roe Avenue and Wendy's, on the brain or anything. So I was shocked that after I woke up, I was like, wow, how did he know there was a Wendy's right there? But of course he's going to know that because that's where I lived. That's where I went all up and down the street for 6.5 years. But my point is, I haven't had that on the brain. I haven't went down that street and saw the Wendy's in 12 years. Because, that's what shocked me. That was just, like, really, really cool. Okay, and what else was I going to say? And like I say, I know I'm forgetting a little bit of both experiences. Because this was a, C experiences. Joel, over the weekend I conked out on the couch. And I was asking for an out-of-body experience. I don't think I was... normally when I ask for out-of-body experience, him anyway, I'll be like, it could be sexual or non-sexual. Well, he made it sexual, but it wasn't an out-of-body experience. It was... They like to, or he does anyway, he likes to, and he's done this millions and millions and millions of times. He puts this live action sex scene right in front of me. And I'm not going to go into details, but it was like amazing what they could do. And you're sitting there like watching it, and then you're getting like aroused and shit. But yeah, it's amazing what they could do. So I did have that experience, but it wasn't, like an actual out-of-body experience. But yeah, lately it's like I've been getting lots of them on the couch, just as long as I can, get into a good sleep or whatever. But yeah, Joel hasn't really been giving me a lot lately. He hasn't been real active lately. I guess I still have time to talk about... I could talk about real quick my experience this morning. I had another, what you could call it, a lucid dream. And I'm going to try to make it quick. But basically, I didn't feel like I was in a college classroom. I felt like I was in a high school classroom. I was in a high school classroom with nothing but women, and a lot of these women were workers in real life. They're workers at the bookstore, and under the scenario, the alien, which I'm sure was a reptilian, the reptilian put under my scenario these workers in my scenario, and in the classroom, and basically, I know it's kind of weird, but basically, some scouting agents came from Los Angeles to my state to look for a rapper. I know this is kind of weird, but I did have all of that on the brain, like recently. And I had watched a video about this guy. He tried to become a rapper, and he went to Los Angeles. So I did kind of have all this on the brain, okay? But anyway, so basically it was just us walking around and sitting around in the damn classroom. It seemed like a high school classroom. And there was one main scouting agent that was walking around and a couple others. And I just knew there was something, and I know I'm forgetting a lot, but I knew there was something fishy about the whole thing. Like, why would he come to Missouri and look for rappers, and we were like nothing but females, and we were all white, and it didn't make sense. And I mean, it was just weird. There was no black people, and no men, and the whole time I'm thinking, why would he come, to Missouri? I mean, none of these people, and I looked around at all the women, and I'm thinking, none of these people look like none of these women would look like they would be good rappers. None of them. And I remember thinking in my head, I had all these thoughts of, well, like, wow, if he picks me, then, I'm going to be rich. And I remember thinking, like, I don't think I really wanted to be, rich, because I didn't want to be like a slave, to them or whatever. And, well, because I had, read stories about all that or whatever. And I didn't really want to be a rapper, And, but anyway, so it was just weird. And I don't know why the alien picked all of that to put in my scenario. And there was one part, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, one part where the females were they were like asking me questions and stuff, and I was trying to tell them, look at him, because for some reason they thought that those agents were on the uppity up, those what did I just call them? The scouting agents. And I was trying to tell them, look at them. I don't think they're on the uppity up. I told them, look at how they're dressed. These people, or these guys or whatever, are rich. They're rich. That they know what they're doing. And I don't think they're, what you think they are or whatever. But anyway, they were asking me questions, and I was just like having conversations like that or whatever. But anyway, I guess they like trusted them or something, and I was trying to tell them, you can't trust those people, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't think they were on the uppity up, and I kept thinking, why the heck would they come from Los Angeles to Missouri to look for rappers? And we were all women, and we were all white women, and I just knew that didn't make sense. And I remember thinking, what if they pick me to be a rapper? And I was thinking, I didn't really think I wanted to be a rapper, because I didn't want to be like a slave to them and do anything they told me. You know what I'm saying? Even though I knew I would be rich. Now, I don't know if the alien also put that in my scenario, just because, I mean, like many years ago, I remember making the comment, like if people would ask you, could you sing or whatever. I mean, I have made a comment like that before, like, no, I can't sing, but I could probably rap. I have said that before, like long time ago. So I don't know if the alien went off of that and put that in the scenario, but it was just, oh yeah, and here again, the jeans thing. He had on like designer jeans. One of the scouting agents had on designer jeans, and in that recent experience that when they took me to Texas, basically, my Aunt Elaine and Uncle John's mansion, Uncle John had on designer jeans. See how they keep repeating the same stuff over and over again? But anyway, that was just, I mean, it was a lucid dream I had this morning, but of course, it was also a SEE. So I'm forgetting lots and lots and lots of parts. Now, I wouldn't, if I immediately, like some experiences, I just remember 100%. I don't have to try to write them down or anything. But some of these ones that are shitty like this, just as long as once I woke up, just as long as I wrote a lot of stuff down, I could probably remember more, But, like I say, I've been getting nothing but SEE experiences lately, And like I say, these experiences too will fade away really fast. So if you let weeks and weeks go by, then I would feel the need like not to talk about it, because I would think, oh man, I forgot too many details now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, that's the experiences I've had lately. So yeah, I mean, I'm still getting some experiences like from Joel and stuff, just not what I want, you know, flying around and shit like that. Oh yeah, I'm asking him to make me, you know, like take me out of body, make me fly, you know, like a bird, but this time to make me like fly, but like rotate and then like fly again and like rotate, you know, because I saw that I tried to watch Duck Duck Goose on Netflix, but I just watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but a lot of things I'll try to watch and then I just get bored and I don't watch it. But yeah, so I saw Duck Duck Goose, they did that, so I'm trying to ask Joel to take me out of body and make me fly around, and make me spin around. You know, fly around and spin spin around. But yeah, so I'm trying to ask for that. Well, anyway, so I'm trying to think, any other lucid dreams? Oh yeah, I'm sure I have. I have them almost every damn day. I just don't talk about all of them. But anyway, that was the kind of some cool experiences to Overland Park, Kansas, and then the one this morning about the rapper and the scouting agents. It was just all very bizarre. And like I say, they've put me in you know, classrooms many times, like high school classrooms. And it's been a while though since they've actually stuck me in a classroom or a college campus, but they do it all the time. And and some experiences, like this experience when they stuck me in the high school classroom, they've stuck me in that same classroom, so to speak, in other experiences, where it's like it feels the same as other experiences, like when they've stuck me in, you know, in other experiences in other classrooms. Like I don't know, it's weird. Like you can like wake up from experience and it's like you know that you've, you know, been in that classroom before under another experience. It's really weird. Okay, well, thanks for listening.